Hi, my name's Lisa from Creative Bird Studio. Welcome to my channel. At the end of my last video, I had this little container which I showed, which was full of little scrap pieces which were left over from some flowers that I'd made, and my plan was to create some clusters from them. And so this is now all that's left, and these are the clusters that I made. Hopefully you can see those. That's them there. I was actually really surprised at how many I was able to make. The pile seemed never ending, but I'm really happy with how many now I have ready to go. And I'm just going to do a quick little bit of a show and tell to show some of the techniques that I used on these and also how you might use them in projects. So we'll just pop over to the other side of my table and I'll show you them more closely. Okay, so here we are at my craft table, and I was just going to go through and show you some of the techniques that I used on some of these clusters. So the process that I followed for making all of them was to first stick 3 pieces of paper together. So I just did that very randomly. As you can see on this one, I've just got the book page behind, then a bit of an overlap with the music paper, and then some tea-dyed vellum over the top. So I did that for all of the clusters. I just did 3 pieces, 3 pieces, 3 pieces, randomly stuck together, and then I took them over to my sewing machine and I did some stitching. I've used 2 different colours of stitching, some white, some which is like my favourite colour, which is like a dark brown thread. And you can just get these and put them under the machine and just sew them all in a big long line straight down the middle. I like to choose where my stitching is going to go and also change the stitches. So you can see I've got a bit of a zigzag and a straight stitch combination with that one. Now, usually with clusters, I would then just simply pop a focal point on the top and call it done, but I wanted to experiment with these and I did a little bit of texture paste. So I hope you can see that. I've just got these little raised up dragonflies. So they came out actually quite sweet, and I didn't feel like I wanted to do anything else to them. So I've just left them as is. And if you're wanting to know what I used for that, these are just some little tag stencils that I got from Which Craft Do You Do? And I just used the little dragonfly one for that. And for the paste, I used this icing paste, and that's by Art Extravagance. It's quite shimmery. So that's what I've used for that. And then some of the others, I just used some stencils with this Distress Grit paste. That's a Tim Holtz one, and it's just you can use any kind of texture paste, but it's just like a normal texture paste, but it's a little bit sandy looking when it dries. And then this one I've just painted over the top with some of this Art Alchemy acrylic metallic paint. So that's that. And I really like how they came out, and I actually have put a little bit of Kindy Glitz on there as well. That's another stencil that I have that I've painted over the top. So I quite like how these stenciled texture paste ones came out. That's just leaving it in the white and putting a bit of Kindy Glitz for a bit of shimmer. So that's those. And then this one, I used this Art Extravagance texture paste Copper Crackle. I picked up all of these texture pastes that I've used at a garage sale recently, so I was really just testing them out to see what they do. And that's the crackle one. You can see it has cracked in some places where it's a little bit thicker, but mostly it just looks like a copper texture paste. And this one I also did a few white splashes in the background, and then I've put a clear sticker over the top. So I quite like how that one turned out. And then I'll just show you, these ones are the ones where I've used the little die cut flowers that I showed in my last video that I made. So just wanted to show you the finished product of some of those being used. So as you can see, I love to ink edges. So on the edges of all of the scrapbook paper, I actually inked the edges of my scrapbooking paper before I made the clusters, before I popped them together, just because I like the contrast of it, and it just adds that little bit of extra depth. And some of the other papers, the music paper and the book paper, it's very thin, so it's not as easy to ink the edges. So I thought if I just ink the edges of my scrapbook paper, the thicker papers, some of the tea dyed paper, it just gives that extra dimension to the finish product. So I have done that, and I have also added lace to some of them as well. The third lot is, I tried a bit of crazy thread on some of these. So I literally just got my little pile of threads that I have for this one and this one and that one and that one, and I literally just rolled it up, glued it behind, and put the butterflies on top. And then this one I did a bit of stitching with the thread, and then I pulled it out and bunched it up and continued to stitch. Same with this one as well. So I like how they came out. It's just a little bit different. So what I'll do now is I'll actually show you how you can use some of these and how they sort of really help to make instant embellishments on things. So I whipped up a few little examples. This one, yeah. So this one I left not inked. So I was talking about how I love to ink the edges, and I thought I would just give you this comparison. So these are two journaling cards that I made, and this one I've inked the edges and this one I haven't. So you can see the difference there. I love the finished off look of the inked edges, and it just looks a bit more, even the paper, this paper in this book is quite white, and it even to me gives the paper more of a cream sort of a look just with having those edges inked. And again, I've done a bit of the excess cotton stitching here. That idea is actually come from Shana from Shanuki Art, and I will link her channel below and her video that shows how to do that, but I'm still sort of experimenting and getting used to that. But I'll just show you. So this one I've made into like a little pocket, just has a little tuck, and this one is just a plain journaling space on the back. So if I was going to use these embellishments, for example, I might pop that one on there. I might use this and pop it on to the pocket front, and it just really lifts them and just really gives them a bit of extra interest. You can see that pocket just becomes so much nicer with this little collage on the front, and it looks like I spent lots of time making this pocket, but really it's a very quick simple sewn pocket with a pre-done cluster on the top. So I could either take that to my machine and just sew it down the sides, or I could get some glue and just glue the bottom part onto the top of my pocket, or I could do both. and then that would become a really nice little pocket where I could tuck a little tag or something in there. Same with this one over here, like that just gives it that really finished off look. It looks great. I could put a little bee on there, could put it off to the side on an angle, anywhere you like really, up the top. Pop that one on there. So the possibilities really are endless. Now that I've made lots of these little clusters, I've got them ready to use and embellish. So my next job will be making lots of little things to put them on. And then I'll have lots of things ready to go. I could choose this little one on this tag. This little one on the tag. And then I would probably add some other things to the tag as well. I could go around and ink the edges, pop an eyelet into the hole, put some even, I don't have any lying around on the desk at the moment to show you, but maybe like a piece of cheesecloth behind there just to add another dimension to that one. And I've also got this little pocket that I made, which is just book page just sewn into a little pocket, so that would go into a signature in a journal. And then if I wanted, I could put a lot of something like that on there. And the bee's a bit long, but I could pop that there if I really wanted it there, and I could just literally tear that off or leave it to overhang, because my journal page would probably be wider anyway, so it would just overhang nicely onto the next page. That's quite nice. I quite like that. And I'll just show you how I've decided to store these. So I've got these little plastic pockets which are intended for card collecting for your old baseball cards and basketball cards and things. So I've recently bought these, and I thought that would be a great way to store them, and I can see them easily, and I've sort of grouped them together. So these are all my flowers, these are butterflies, these are my mushrooms, and these are some more butterflies. So I just thought that's a really good way to keep them, and I'll pop them into a file and I'll be able to just flick through. And actually after I did this and I was flicking through, I could see the backs are actually really pretty as well. So I really like the backs, especially with the lace and the textures and things going on. So yeah, you could definitely make some clusters and then turn them over and see what's happening on the other side. I think that might be just as interesting. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed looking at all these wonderful little clusters that I've made from just what I thought was a few scraps, but actually felt like a lot of scraps in the end. And yeah, I hope you can go away and be inspired by this. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.